Vacating the part of the
When you say pass, do you mean?
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Postpone?
I'm
postpone?
sorry, Mr. Smith. I meant postpone,
Okay,
pass to
okay.
another meeting.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I apologize.
Never
I
mind.
misspoke. Thank you, Bo.
okay, so Mr. Chad, did he mention a date? Like, would that be February 3rd or February 17th, or we'll just get back?
Yeah, let's look at it, because if a publication has to be done, it'd have to be once a week for 4 weeks.
Okay.
So let's push that off until the second meeting in March. just
Okay.
to give us plenty of time.
All right. Okay, and then the third item on this, are Ashley and Justin Alexander here? Okay, good. So there's a request for a speed table and radar signs on Alabama Avenue North. This is between 14th and 18th Streets. So if either Justin or Ashley or you both would like, please come to the podium and speak on your behalf.
There we
There we
go.
go.
Good evening, everyone. As Mr. Simpson said, we are residents of Fort Payne. We've been living here since 2018. And it's a common occurrence on our section of the street. So if you know where the MAPCO is, off of Galt, you turn up the street there to get to Alabama Avenue, where that offset is, coming from one side of Alabama Avenue, and then you have to make that little curve turn to get back on Alabama. It's very frequent speeders coming through there at fairly high rates of speed. And there's a number of families, residents that live on the street, have children, have pets. They walk their pets. There's elderly personnel that live up and down the street there. And all we want is something to slow the traffic down as it comes through there. Because it seems like most people, as soon as they turn on to that section of Alabama Avenue, they feel like they need to floor it and don't let up until they get to the bottom of the hill there where 16th Street is. I have a copy of the petition if needed.
We got it. We're passing it around.
Okay, sounds good. But we, from what I could tell, we got all the signatures that were needed to be able to have this added to the docket before this city council meeting. My wife walked on foot, house to house, carrying the petition around to get all the signatures on it, up and down Alabama Avenue there. And we would greatly appreciate it, and I know there's a lot of other families that would greatly appreciate something being installed, either the radar systems, flashing lights, or either the speed table, just to ensure that those people coming through speeding are slowing down, being mindful of the kids. Even if, I mean, just some kids that play signs too would be nice.
Mr. Alexander, question, are you noting a time of the day that this is happening more frequently, or is it just kind of?
It is throughout the day.
Okay.
And since we've been living there, it seems like, I don't know, every couple weeks, there's speeders getting pulled over, or there's the cops pulling somebody over on that street. And 9 times out of 10, it is for speeding. We actually have one of the sheriff's deputies, who is the resource officer at Geraldine High School, Nick Hester, lives right across from our garage there on that corner, opposite corner from us on Alabama 16. And he said the same thing. He actually had to leave out of his driveway as soon as getting home from work to tail somebody that came speeding through as soon as he parked and stepped out of his cruiser. And so I know he can attest to the same thing. And with all the pets and personnel that live there, walking their pets up and down the street, I know it would put their mind at ease to know that they could get out and walk their animals without fear of getting blindsided by a speeding car. But that's about all I got.
All right, thank you, Mr. Alexander.
20 minutes ago, I almost got T-boned on 18th Street in Alabama, so I go through there all the time, and it's a problem. It's been a problem. This has been brought up for the last council. It's just, for whatever reason, we've yet to get a solution to it. Now, we've talked about the portable speed tables Tim can tell us a little bit more about those that we could use on a temporary basis and move around to other spots in the city.
Yeah, if we were to get the speed humps, we can put those in. They're not as aggressive as the speed table. We can put those in, but then if something changes later on, we can actually take those out. It was a longer lead time on ordering those than I thought. They only came in this week, but we can put those in at any time during the year. If we do a speed table, it's only going to be able to put it in during paving season. And it's permanent. You can't take it out without ripping up the asphalt.
Tim, remind us, the cost of those speed bumps, was that like $1,400 a piece?
The speed table is about 1,800, but the speed humps, which is smaller, they're 180 a piece.
Okay.
So it takes two of those, so about less than $400 to do the speed hump, where it's about 1,800 to do the speed table.
We could do two or three spots on that strip cheaper than we can do a speed table.
Yeah, one speed table is roughly $1,800.
That sounds like a win to me.
Yeah. And I mean, I would fully support that. I do think 14th to 18th is a little narrow. This is an issue all down Alabama Avenue. And if we have time, we should probably do like a holistic, how do we really solve this past, like do 14th through 18th, but in addition to that, all the way to the cemetery, really.
Well, thank you, Mr. Alexander. If we have any other questions, we'll bring you up, but I did ask Mr. Chief Davis if he would speak to this also. So, thank you.
So whenever we get complaints coming in, of course, we send our officers out to, in the area. So a lot of times we're as much reactive. We try to be proactive as much we can, but we're very much a lot of times reactive. So when we get complaints, and we've had increased patrols in that area to try to help, but we stop a car, either write them a ticket, don't write, whatever the circumstances are during that time. So some of the things I knew they was requesting maybe speed bumps and radar signs. So I did the radar signs, and the one that I looked at. If you're constantly going somewhere and it's always flashing, your mind is going to get caught to that, and it's going to just ignore it over time. So they got these radar signs, and y'all have seen them. If you go down 49th Street, which we removed it today, but if you go down 49th Street, you got that trailer. So once it hits a certain speed, you get blue red lights. Also, it'll give you a message, and those can be set up at different. We can set it up however we want to. Another thing these radar signs will do is, like in 30, you can break it down like in 30-minute increments, but you can kind of tell. It doesn't do a speed count. A traffic count of how many cars is coming through, but what it's telling, the data that it's collecting is what's the speed, what's the highest, what's the lowest, and what's the average speed, and then you can break it down by that. So that helps us a lot going, okay, between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m., we know that's our biggest issues during this time. The speed sign that I looked at, that's a little bit different than the one we have right now. It's just a little bit bigger. Just for one sign, solar and everything is roughly $4,300. That's one sign. And also something to think about, and there's opinions across the board on what works and what doesn't work. But instead of maybe doing the speed tables through there, is maybe a four-way stop at maybe around 16th Street. That could be an option to look at. It just gives that traffic having to stop. Other than that, we will respond, and we're still going to go out responding and doing whatever we need to do. But and also to y'all and anybody, if you're having issues, especially what helps us is, because a lot of times it may be a particular person, it may be a particular vehicle. So if we know, hey, there's a red truck at 4 o'clock that's coming through here every day, that helps us track down, because sometimes it's that, and that's for everybody that's lives on these streets. call us, let us know, and we can pinpoint that as well. So, I mean, that's about what I've got on
Okay.
that.
We don't have enough traffic radar signs right now.
So the traffic radar signs we've got 4. Actually, one of them, somebody wanted to play baseball with it, we feel like, and we're having to have it fixed. But we have 4. 2 of them are on trailers. The problem with the trailers in this neighborhood is finding a place to set the trailers. If we've had them through there in different areas, but we've talked to the people that live there. Hey, do you care if this sits in your yard for an extended period of time? The ones that goes on the poles are much easier to maneuver. The ones that we ordered the first time, we got them with battery. The problem with the battery is they don't last very long. So if this is a project that the city looks to want to try to do, then my recommendation is any that we get going forward, we get with solar. That way it takes away having to, we'll get calls hey, your speed sign on such and such has quit working. And it's usually just because the batteries died out. And there's different sizes. This is the size, the price that I got is for a one size up than the ones that you see that we put on the pole. It's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit bigger than that. So, but the question is we could go back to that size, which will bring the cost down a little bit. What it is exactly, I just got the price of the one. So, I mean, there's options, and it's just a matter of, is this route the city like to go purchasing these long term? And I think I mentioned this maybe one of the first council meetings. One long term that I would like to see is more of these type signs, especially in our downtown area, because a lot of times people's not realizing they're speeding. They're getting off work, they're going here, and something that just catches their attention. And 49th Street, we was coming off the interstate the other day, and it hit me. I was like, oh, crap. It catches me, and I know it's there. So, but it's not constant. So when it's not constant, people's mind is not getting used to it being there all the time.
And to clarify, you mean your recommendation is more of the speed sign, the solar type, correct? Is that what you're asking?
If we're going that route, yeah, it would be the solar speed signs.
4,300 each, correct?
Well, it would be a little less, but yes, around that'd be kind of the top end.
Okay.
That's the one that was on 49.
No, sir. No, that one's a little higher. That's an actual trailer. So the one I'm talking about, it'll have like a regular speed limit sign where you've got your speed limit. Well, right underneath it, it's going to show what speed you're traveling at. And then you can set those to do, there's 2 different things. You can set them to flash a different color, or you can get them to say like slow down or, something along those lines.
Okay.
Do we think 35 miles an hour is the right speed limit to begin with?
I mean, it's about the average speed limit for that type of area. Getting your vehicle and just kind of coast and
Right.
drive and see what your speed actually is.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you're in that 30 mile an hour before you. So, but I mean, I think 35 is appropriate.
Chief, do we have any of the small signs workable and available now?
We have,
Not the trailer, the small sign.
we do, we was putting them up, and I'll be honest with you, I'll have to get to see where that they got put on, because we did put them up the other day, or we started putting them up the other day. We just removed one for 49th Street because we're fixing to work on the speed on that road.
Smaller ones are mobile, so we can use it in this area first.
We could, yes.
Maybe we can move, we can always put it back.
I think another thing that we can do that's immediate, correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, is put up a sign or 2 that says slow children at play. We've done those several places, and that's something that could be done relatively, cheap and right away.
Yeah.
We need, how many would you,
Sir?
That, there, I don't remember one.
You talking about making it a four-way there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chief, what do you think about, I was talking to Tim, between the speed, not the table, the humps, and the four-way, which one, would the four-way stop be better because that's gonna make them stop?
The four-way is gonna make them stop.
Kinda like that idea the more I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, the four-way, we've got, we'll just throw this out there, we have that area that we've got calls about. And you get on Forest Avenue, you've got a long stretch through Forest that also, and I went through the other day, and probably on Forest, there's a couple areas, but this particular area, I looked and thought it's kind of the split. If you kind of look at it, it's kind of even, and 16th Street's kind of in the middle. So once vehicles come on, they can't go very far anyway before they're going to have to stop. So the quickest, easiest fix is a four-way stop. Let me back up, not a fix, but the quickest, easiest process in fixing this is a four-way stop.
Ma'am, have you got something you want, Todd?
I will say this, that if we do a four-way stop there, then, because I see it now, we're gonna get more calls on Forest Avenue because you can get on Forest Avenue, and what it does is they'll fly down
bypassing
all
the
of
Forest.
This
Yep.
already
Doing up there?
set in place speed radars, which is 144 red lights. So everybody's taking all the back roads,
Right.
whether it be Grand, like it's
Yes.
the workaround. Either you're gonna go down this street, you're gonna cut down this one, and you're gonna go speed down that one. I've also personally had a few of Fort Payne City Police sit in my driveway and clock everybody from about, 45 to 65 before they even hit where they should be. There's no reason for you to hit the stop sign and go 65. Downtown, I ain't worried about. These back streets where all these children are, that is a problem. A big one. That's it. That's all I got. Blank. Done.
If we motion tonight, Chief, we motion tonight to make that 16th Street a four-way stop, we wouldn't have to have a public hearing on it, is that right, Chad? Would this serve as a public hearing for putting the four-way stop in?
It was on the agenda. I mean, it'd be safer to have one, just to make sure and give anybody opportunity.
To speak? How do y'all feel about the four-way stop? I mean, I like it.
I like that.
And maybe
It have to
the
be
children
kinda like
slow,
the red
yeah.
lights. Do you have to progress four ways, or can you just four-way them?
Can we do a motion, do we need to do a motion tonight to put the slow, put the children at play signs up, and I don't know, how many you want to order? 2 more flashing radar signs? Do you need,
If we're looking for right now, just a specific area, then yes, 2. But once again, we are still gonna have the traffic that goes in all this area. So, several years ago, I was getting reports, and once, in the 400 to 500 block of Alabama. That's kind of what's kind of started this, is throughout the time, getting these different reports. So if we're looking for just a fix right now in this particular area, then 2 signs. But if we're looking for a long-term fix for the whole situation, then I feel like we're going to need several more. Because you got to realize that the bulk of the traffic is, and what a lot of them are either trying to avoid the red light, trying to avoid where the trains got the intersections blocked. So they typically are on this side, so they're not hitting Godfrey, Clark, Sanders, those. They're hitting Grand, Alabama, and Forest.
we're going to push them to Grand and Forest.
Yeah.
How would y'all feel about doing 4 signs now? What, 18,000 roughly? Is that right? 18 to 20,000 for 4 signs,
Talking about the flashing signs?
flashing radar signs, along with a 4-way stop. I mean, if we're going to do it, we're going to have to buy signs. So, we want to buy 4 now and 4 later on. as we need them.
From my experience on signage, anything they can't write tickets on, nobody pays any attention to. They know you can't write tickets on children playing. Any of the yellow, orange signs, they can't write tickets, and nobody pays any attention to them.
But it doesn't hurt. And
It
those
doesn't hurt, but
And those signs are not, just a normal sign's not gonna be much money.
No, it's not much money. They don't really help a lot.
I kinda concur, but I would, to agree with John, if we went to four-way stop, and that's a cheap, easy way to go ahead and do it, they only got 2 blocks to go and 2 blocks to get back to 14th. So that's, you can't get so much speed in 2 blocks. And maybe put the slow children playing or whatever sign, but to what you're saying, Grant, do we have that money available? Or do we need to look at that?
Tim can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we can use highway and traffic safety for that.
we
think
did.
so.
There's,
I'm sure
we,
we did.
that's how we purchased the last ones.
But,
Can I ask a question right quick? Are y'all seeing more issues north or south, traffic-wise? Both.
Because if they'll come from this way, they'll come from this way, they're matching speeds. I think they're racing each other at this point. We're just having fun. But if they hit my youngin,
I got you.
then we're gonna have more problems.
Quick solution is put a four-way there.
Okay.
And then it's just a matter of how many, if y'all want to go the radar sign route, you know, for it to be effective, how many do we really need? Where do we really need to place them? And this will give us the time also to look at saying, well, this four-way is actually working. But with that being said, if we do a four-way there, then we are going to have to do some four-ways on Forest Avenue.
Push everybody up.
Yeah.
So if we're doing it for us, then I think we need to do it either somewhere between the 500 to 800 block, and then up there, the other place to help would be at the, where you turn to go to Crown Health.
13th, yeah. 8th,
13th.
8th Street, 8th to 5th Street, it's a mess down there too. They, going south, top of that hill there at 8th and 9th Street, it's like 80 miles an hour, I guess. I mean, however fast you want to go. So I agree with you.
And listen, we get out and we try to tackle the problems. Give you a prime example. This past week, we had a call about some issues on Williams Avenue during school traffic time. In 2 days, and this is how our officers respond. I mean, they go out to the source to look for the problem. In 2 days, 2 officers did 25 traffic stops with 24 citations and 4 warnings. That's in a very short period of time. Day in and day out, we have, you know, only so many officers per street, and we've got there is a lot of road mileage in Fort Payne, especially on the north end of Fort Payne. So, you know, we try our best to get in these areas, but we can't be in every area at every time. So four ways are going to help, and I mentioned this before. You know, we've got to get a little creative in how we look to maybe slow some of this traffic down. It's not always just a police officer.
Randy, can we have a resolution ready for next meeting that we're going to do the four-way stops and have a public input session?
For all the four ways.
Yeah, four ways, let Chief let us know where he needs four ways.
Well, like I said, I've had some calls about the forest in general, and I just know, you know, this is. I don't think I really don't think this is going to push a whole lot of traffic off of Alabama. I really don't. But still, we're still having calls, and if we're going to fix some problems, let's just start right now and fix them.
No, the only reason we're not talking about Forest is because nobody from Forest showed up. I mean, it's the same problem. Yeah. There
Yeah.
you go. Me too. I live on Forest.
Same.
Thank you, Chief. Any other comment related to this matter?
Like John said, if it's coming from the highway traffic safety money, and it's there, can we go ahead and order 4 of those at least, because these are mobile?
Let me look and see how much is in that account, because we have to keep that pretty high, because if a red light does break, red lights are not $4,000.
Problem, it's gonna be a big problem really soon.
All right. Thank you, Alexanders, for your showing up and also for your comments and for your feedback. Also to Chief, thank you, and Tim Williams for the feedback as well. So this concludes our citizen participation portion of the agenda tonight. We will now move to the ratification of the bills, and we need to approve bills for the month of December 2025. How would the council like to proceed on that?
Motion to pay the bills.
Motion by Mike to pay the bills.
Second.
Second by Bo. Any opposed? All in favor, I'm sorry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? All right, so that carries. All right, on the ordinances and resolutions, we'll reconvene on those. We had Resolution 2026-01 plus Resolution 2026-02, but those have been postponed due to us needing to hear those at a future date. We will now go into continued business. From old business, we had the appointments for 2 Fort Payne Improvement Authority positions on the board. We started the process interviewing. We accepted or received 11 applications. The admin committee, comprised of Mike, Grant, myself, and the mayor, narrowed that down to 5 finalists. We interviewed those in an open work session last meeting, and now we are going to come to those 2 appointments. So how this will work, so I'll open the floor for nominations. We'll take nominations on those 5 finalists. We can take up to all 5 nominations. Once we get a second on those, we will vote on each one that is nominated. And then through that process of elimination, we'll vote until we get the final 2 people, okay? So at this moment, I want to open the floor for nominations for Fort Payne Improvement Authority Board appointment.
Motion to nominate Robbie Davis.
Okay? Second. All right, so Robbie Davis. Any other, this is an open floor for nominations. Any other nominations at this moment?
We're doing 2, we're gonna pick 2 out of this?
There can be 4, there can be 4 or 5. There can be 2, 3, 4, or 5.
I'm saying, are we gonna narrow this down to 2? We're gonna vote on 2 at one time, or each, or 2 separate times for 2 separate places?
We're gonna take nominations and then close the nominations, the floor for nominations, and then vote total. So for 2 at one time. We're gonna get the highest amount.
So the top 2.
Top 2, yes.
And if there's a tie, if for some reason 3 people all get the same number,
Correct. We'll vote again.
we do it, okay.
Yes.
Nominate Kevin Worley.
Okay. So Robbie Davis, Kevin Worthy, any other nominations?
Jake Johnson.
Jake Johnson. Do we have a second on Kevin Worthy? We got a nomination. Second. And then on Jake Johnson,
Second.
second. Okay. Any other nominations?
Can we nominate 2?
Hmm?
Can we nominate 2?
Yes.
Nominate Wade Gorham.
Nomination for Wade Gorham. We need a second.
So if that's a second, we can take him out.
Okay. So no second being called for. Our 3 nominations that had a second are Robbie Davis, Kevin Worthy, and Jake Johnson. There are 10 total votes among us 5. So first of all, you can vote for 2 people. So, and then we'll see where we land. So Robbie Davis, let's do roll call.
Yes.
Okay, and yes as well. So Robbie Davis has 5. Now we'll go to Kevin Worthy.
No.
And yes. 3. And then now Jake Johnson.
Did you vote?
I did.
3-2.
3, yes. Jake Johnson,
Yes.
Yes.
yeah, you can only vote twice. You got 2 votes.
And I'd already voted my 2.
Okay.
Yeah, me too. I know that.
I wasn't understanding, that's why I was waiting to see. So I've already voted on the first 2.
Okay.
Yes to Jake Johnson.
Okay.
I'm gonna say yes. to that.
So 2 on Jake Johnson. All right. All right, that's 10 total votes. We have 5 for Robbie Davis, 3 for Kevin Worthy, and 2 for Jake Johnson. Any other comment or question? Brandy, you have this as well? Okay. All right, we have 5, we had 10 total votes. We had 5 for Robbie Davis, 3 for Kevin Worthy, 2 for Jake Johnson. So as it stands, our 2 Fort Payne Improvement Authority board appointments will be Robbie Davis and Kevin Worthy, effective at the upcoming February Fort Payne Improvement Authority board meeting, which will be the second Thursday? I think it's the second Thursday of each month at noon. All right, thank you to all who have applied for this position, and it was a very, very good process. I'm pleased with the policy and procedures that we have in place now, and for the participation up here, as well as also the citizens for applying. So thank you. Now, new business. We have some items on the new business. First is the Foster's Gym. I want to reference a letter that the mayor received on November 25th, 2025 to the city of Fort Payne. This is from the Alabama Department of Transportation. So the Alabama Department of Transportation is in the process of acquiring rights-of-way for the purpose of constructing the above referenced project, and that is the arrestor bed. As you come off, that's on Wallace Avenue, as you come off Highway 35 down to the curve that's in question as far as danger. So this project is being proposed by ALDOT. They are looking to purchase not only the rec center there at the foot of 35, but also the 2 houses to the north and 2 houses to the south. It would leave open 8th Street. 8th Street will remain open. That's not part of the project, so that emergency vehicles would have a way up to the Lookout Mountain in that event. So I want to read just a couple of a paragraph, especially in this. So in addition, I skipped 2 paragraphs, and it says, in addition, a thorough review of the appraisal reports has been made by the department staff of trained real estate appraisers. Our studies indicate that the just compensation year due is $477,330.00. We are hereby, and we as ALDOT, hereby making this offer to you. This offer includes payment for all land and improvements in the acquisition area, along with any damages or enhancement as a result of the acquisition. The other key paragraph in this, we hope that the amount of our offer is acceptable. In the event we are unable to acquire by agreement, it will then be necessary to acquire your property by exercising the state's power of eminent domain. In these proceedings, a petition of condemnation is filed in the probate court of DeKalb County. So we have an offer from ALDOT in the amount of $477,330.00. How would the council wish to proceed with this?
There's a little confusion over
Okay.
when they said we're gonna get a report on Foster's Gym. This is, and you read it.
Mm-hmm.
This is just for the building itself.
Mm-hmm.
There's gonna be another offer to Melissa, the owners of Foster's,
Okay.
that we're not involved in. To make
No.
that clear, we don't have any involvement in that at all, and I'm assuming that they've already made them an offer.
Okay. This land is 0.99 acres. So the land and the improvements, the building, is what's been offered to the city.
There was two different offers. One was that little portion of land,
Good point, there's a small strip.
Like a
a
sliver of a
small,
ditch.
just a little bitty sliver, and that total was $478.80.
Okay, thank you for bringing that up. 478,080. $478,080.00. There's a small sliver toward the back of the property. We could show you a diagram of that. My opinion, of course, they can give their opinion, but my opinion is we would not want to keep that. It's hard to see, but there's, the yellow portion is the .99. There's a blue sliver at the top. I wouldn't want to keep that due to the liability of having that one little strip, which would attach to the arrestor bed that the ALDOT's going to construct. So anyway, the $478,080 is a more accurate number if we sold all of it. Any other comments toward that from the council?
I think, like we discussed amongst ourselves on that, it's basically a ditch. It's about, so wide to Patrick over there. It's of no value, the little part in the back of no value whatsoever, and only a liability if we kept it, so it needs to go with it. Both need to go. And to echo what John's saying, it's, this is a state project. I think it's a fair offer for the property that's there. If we don't take it, they'll go into condemnation, and we may get a third of that. So I would think that it's a good idea to move forward with it. And like I say, as far as the business, that's entirely separate as far as when they proceed through with that. But I mean, the state has to get this done, and for the other houses all lined up for when this starts.
Is there a timeline? Them doing this?
I don't know. I have not had, they've not said anything about any certain timeline or anything.
I agree with Mike that I think this is a fair amount for what's happening. I do think it's, not to minimize how insanely dangerous Joe's Truck Stop is, but I think it's unfortunate that we are going to do $1 million feasibility study separate from this later, and we have to make this decision now. Obviously, I don't know what our choices are if ALDOT can just take it via eminent domain. But I just wanted to acknowledge that, it's an interesting situation to have to do this now and not even know the status of those other 4 homes. Have they taken it? Have they not?
I don't like it at all. It's just like paying the first offer you get on a new car. But we're backed there's nothing we can do. We're backed in the corner. We take what they give us, or they're going to go in and take it, and who knows what we'll get, if anything.
Nobody else is gonna make an offer because they know the state's about to take it, so
No.
we're in a hole.
We're in the driver's seat. We're just sitting here, yes, sir.
Okay. We need a motion to accept this offer from ALDOT.
Make a motion to accept the offer.
Motion by Mike. Need a second?
Second.
Second by Bo. All those in favor, or do you want to do roll call? Let's do roll call. Roll call, yes.
Yes.
Like it, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so it's unanimous. So that carries. We will accept the offer of $478,080 for the property there. Okay, now we are going to have a discussion. We have an ordinance already on hand. Randy, you know the ordinance number of that we already have on hand for, okay, so we have an ordinance already in place that pertains to city council members or mayors serving on paid boards. So
It's section 2, 125A and B.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. So with that, we want to have a discussion related to that, potentially adding that no sitting member of the city council or mayor may serve on any paid board. Any comments from the council? Or do we have a motion?
Chad's addressed this before.
And I'm not sure if anybody objected to it, if it would pass muster, because it kind of falls back under statutorily created entities, when we tried to do term limits and, we did some research on that and said, well, you really can't do that. That's the legislature's job. I don't see any reason why this wouldn't fall under that same prohibition. If anybody said, hey, well, you can't do that, that's got to be done at the Montgomery level as well. I didn't really research this exact issue, but I really don't see the difference in it. Again, I think it's just something that you as a council could just decide not to do. Just say, as a council, we're not going to do it. We're not going to put a sitting council member on a paid board. I'm just not sure if we did an ordinance, if it would be legal, if we couldn't do term limits and we couldn't do anything else with an entity that was created by statute. I think it's going to have to go through Montgomery to do.
What's the worst that could happen if we do an ordinance?
It's overturned if anybody objected to it.
Well, and to that end, the one that we do have, the 125, Section 2, I guess I don't know what would change with the current one, what the proposal would be based on how it's already laid out. I'm paraphrasing, but it basically says a sitting council member cannot be a part of Improvement Authority, Water Board, School Board, or any other paid board unless requested by that board. Is kind of how I took it. And I don't know what language we would want to add to it, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it says, Brandy just pulled it up, no member of city council shall be eligible to serve on the city school board, the board of trustees of the Improvement Authority, the city waterworks board, or any other board which may at times be in conflict with the city council, unless said board specifically requires a representative of the city council. So it sounds like you pretty much have it already.
So if we take no action on it, basically it bars us from being on it, which is the point.
It could just be enforced better. It wasn't enforced before.
It's been like that since 1988 and been violated repeatedly.
Been violated ever since, it's written.
Current council is not, and as far as the councilman, we've said we're not gonna be on the paid board, and that's not changed, so.
But like you say, that's not binding. It doesn't bind anyone.
If that one's not binding, neither would a new one.
Somebody'd have to, the only difference is somebody'd have to object to it and take it to, I don't know if you'd take it to court, but somebody could challenge it. I just think we'd have something to go by if we had an ordinance that says we can't do it, that we're not gonna do it.
We have that already. I mean, it's just,
That is, Mr. Smith, that is the ordinance from 1988.
Well, I've been, for 6 years, we've ignored it, so, I'm a little gun shy on what we got going on right now. I mean, I'm good if we're gonna, if we're gonna stick with it. If we got that ordinance to cover it, I'm good. We still got to address city mayors, which I don't think the city mayor should be on it either. But I think that's gonna have to be a separate issue.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Everybody else, no action? Just,
I think it's already covered by existing, and I've got several calls today asking about what's about it. When we ran, we said we're not gonna be on the board as council, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm not, so.
I'm not either.
I won't. So we could just adhere to it.
Yeah.
Our council could just adhere to it. Okay. All right. Good discussion. All right. Next is, so this has been approved by the zoning board or the planning commission. The rezoning property hereby changed from R1 low density residential to R2 medium density residential. And this is located along Godfrey Avenue North in a northerly direction beginning at 3600 Godfrey Avenue North and owned by Northcutt Real Estate LLC. The Northcutts are present tonight. This property is better described as follows, and it's got the parcel number. So there has been a set of covenants that were adopted for this property. So what is on the table and the planning commission heard was for this property, which is already zoned R1, to be changed and a new rezoned to R2. So Nick Brown is not here tonight to speak toward this, but Richard is on the Planning Commission. Do you have anything, any comments? Okay, so that was all done.
Tim could tell us.
Okay, Tim's on
I
the.
think Rodney
Rodney.
can kind of speak to that issue.
Thanks, Rodney.
Excuse me, I got a bad cough. The covenant, covers the 1,100 square foot, which was court requirement for the R1 housing, a minimum of 1,100 square foot heated. And then they have some more stipulations they've added. In the planning commission meeting, it was brought up about the short-term rentals. In R2, Mr. Busman did not want to go there because he didn't think we could exclude them because they're offered everywhere else in R2. His and Nick's remedy to that was change the short-term rental ordinance to conditional use for all residential zones, excluding the rural farm. But in looking over the covenants, they've kind of met what Mr. Busman recommended. And from what the planning commission, they were good with moving forward with it and putting it in y'all's hands.
Because R2 usually allows down to 600 square feet, but this covenant covers, it's a minimum 1,100 square feet.
1,100, just like the R1.
Yeah, foundation, block foundation has to be painted
build,
or
yeah.
finished out. Outbuilding has to be the same siding as the house itself, so pretty good covenants.
I think she's actually added no block. The block would have to be covered with.
Yes, had to be covered.
Stucco and some things like that. So I think it's a pretty good covenant from what I've read of it.
What's changing? What will be allowed in R2?
Well, the lot size would go from 15,000 square feet to 10,500. And
So there's 6 lots on Godfrey Avenue that will remain R1. The lots in the property and behind it, if it goes from R1 to R2, it will be a difference between 18 total houses being built on this subdivision to, as R2, if this is approved, to be in 24.
yeah.
Claire or Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, but 18 to 24. I got a thumbs up, so thank you.
And tonight is the first of multiple discussions on this? Is that how this goes?
I think it's down to be voted on tonight,
It would be
the way I read it.
first reading of it.
First reading.
First reading? Okay.
Yeah, there would be 2.
We're not voting tonight. Is that right? Is
discussion.
that right?
Well, thank you, Rodney.
Okay.
So, Brandy, if you'll make a note, we'll have a public hearing next time. We won't do that tonight. So, next time, we'll have a public hearing on this matter. Tonight was just a first reading for us to discuss among the council. Thank you, Tamara, for showing up, being willing.
Are we gonna, Richard asked a question, good question. Are we gonna input tonight, or the council members gonna wait and do the public input?
That's a good question. I mean,
Yeah, I'm
you
good.
can provide feedback tonight.
My only concern is moving from R1 to R2 is, and I know you say you're gonna, have the same stipulations as R1. Having a covenants, no HOA or whatever, what the character is gonna be in 10 years. I mean, it's gonna be awfully hard to enforce the covenants when it's relied on the homeowner who's just bought a 1,100 square foot home, and they're the ones that have to enforce it. Where we as a city, if it's R1, we have you know what I mean? I just think of the covenants, a lot of times down the road, it's very difficult to enforce, in my opinion, with no HOA, no organized body 10 years from now. So it's just a thought.
The covenants have a time period of 25 years that they're good for.
Set for,
They could be reset by a majority vote of
majority vote of the
the
people who
owners
live
at
there.
that time.
And regardless of whether someone buys a lot and builds it themselves, or someone buys a home the Northcutts have built, they're all subject to the same covenant. Is that correct?
Correct.
The covenant stuff is actually enforceable. It's by the homeowners, like the Grove, I think's the name of it. So everybody that if we all lived in the Grove and somebody, the empty chair buys something in there and they come in there and their square footage is small or whatever, it's a civil procedure, but you know, I run into it realty-wise all the time. There's actually a place right outside in the county that, starting towards Sand Mountain, that says is a 52-acre tract, nice house and all, but there's like 250 acres in a spot that says you can't shoot a gun. I had it sold. The guy said, well, if I can't shoot a gun, I'm not going to buy it. And it was like 80-year-old covenant. But once the covenants are in place, it's almost impossible to undo them. So it's actually almost as good as law. The only problem would come is if somebody's violating it, it has to first start with the other homeowners.
Right,
But if it's been adopted by the city, and then you had an ordinance violation, it could be referred to Rodney and them, and they could assist with that. But it basically starts, Chad, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a civil procedure first.
Brought up by the surrounding
Otherwise the neighbor.
people in the neighborhood, right. So, I mean, it's on them to do it, not the city. Right.
Correct, but if the city knows it's there and it's occurring, it could be, I could come to you and say, do you want this happening or not? And you're gonna say, well, no. And so it would be easily to, if the city sees the violation first, they could prompt the procedure.
Why would the city see the violation, though, is what I'm saying?
Well, what I'm saying
We're
is,
not
right,
monitoring who's building in there.
Well,
If it's
everybody's gotta draw a building permit to build,
right.
and if,
But we're just gonna enforce R2. That's what it is. We don't enforce covenants as a city.
Correct.
no, but you,
We just enforce, so as long as it's over 600 square feet, it would be up to those homeowners in that neighborhood to say, well, no, we ain't doing that. I'm gonna have to go get an attorney. You know, we don't enforce covenants. The city doesn't.
true, but you know, like I say, you would be amazed how strict that people will enforce them if they're there. And I see it, regularly, not so much in Fort Payne, but in an area not far from us that you would not believe has more HOAs than anywhere, and they will tell on each other in a heartbeat. So I don't think it'd be a problem to keep it enforced.
Play devil's advocate for a minute. We go through, it seems like the last, 3 years, that's all we've talked about is rezoning and things. Why do we go to all this trouble to rezone or to have a zoning period and then turn around and rezone it? I mean, why do we have R1? But yeah, we're gonna have R1, but let's rezone it to R2.
When the zonings were created, it was 1976. Lots changed since we've been here a month and a half, but I mean, you know, and by the current zonings, I think they're 1976, most of them. So we've grown a lot since 1976, and hopefully we'll continue to. But as things come up, it's the only way of proceeding forward or not. I mean, you know, I don't know if that answers.
I agree with him, what he's trying to say, and Claire and Brian would say, they're trying to maximize their property. If it is zoned R2 with this covenant, they could get 24 houses built versus 18.
I'm a landowner next to it, and I don't care. I'm just gonna give you a scenario. I own a house next door to the property. It took me 25 years to pay off. I bought it in R1 in an area the whole area is R1, but I get it paid off. Now you're gonna do an R2, throw it right beside me. And we'll have we'll have more traffic and things that go with it. So what's the argument for that? Now I'm just throwing it out there, you know. This, because, I mean, if I was out here, if I was a landowner, that's the first thing I would ask. At any rate, I guess we'll bring it up at the next public hearing.
The housing on these are the same size as their 1,100 minimum as the others, so it's not going to detract from the neighborhood. And in this specific location, it's been a pine grove for as long as we can all remember. But nobody adjoining had interest in it to buy it, evidently. So the Northcutts are building the same houses, but the yards are smaller. That's the nutshell of it. Their yards just aren't quite as big.
More houses.
Yeah, and 6 more houses.
All right, so we will not entertain ordinance 2026-02, Brandy, due to us having a public hearing on this matter. So Tamara Bearden and then Brian and Claire, anyone interested, please show up at that public hearing to voice your opinions. All right, we have 2 new alcohol license applications that we need to consider. First one, the business name is Pace of Play Indoor Golf, LLC. The applicant name is Ronald Whittington Jr., and this would be a new alcohol license, on-premise beer and wine. This is at the location of 100 8th Street, Fort Payne, Alabama 35967, indoor golf facility.
Which has been commercial for years.
Clerk's recommendation is to approve, so how does the council want to proceed?
So moved.
Moved by John, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Any discussion before we vote? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so carried. And the second one is a change of ownership. So this is the South End Market by Mr. Shehar Krupa, LLC. This is at 1022 Galt Avenue South, Fort Payne, convenience store. This is for off-premise beer and wine. Again, this is a change of ownership. So how would...
They've already had one.
They've had one. Yeah, this is just change of ownership, and they have to reapply. Brandy, fill in if I'm missing anything. So the clerk's recommendation is to approve. How would the council like to proceed? A motion from Richard. We have a second.
Second.
Second by Bo. All those in any discussion on this one? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so carried. All right, any other new business that anybody does not know of that's on the agenda? All right, before we adjourn, we are going to enter into an executive session to discuss commerce and trade. There will be no decisions made at the conclusion of this executive session. So with that being said, this is closed, of course, so we are looking at adjourning. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move.
A motion by do what?
Roll call.
Okay, roll call vote to go into executive session. So,
Yes.
Yes.
yes. So we, unanimous, we're going into executive session. And we've got a motion from John to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Bo. Thank you all for attending. Have a good night.